Hey doing guys, welcome back into another video for NRL Fantasy Analysis here. And this one we're going to be going through a lot more of the guys at the top echelon of players, more the guns, maybe one or two mid-range type of players that you'd be looking to bring in. These mid-range guys would be looking to be more in the wing fullback or the half or the center position. And if my personal thoughts is if you're going edge, middle, hooker, is going for top to top. I think especially, with being fairly close to the bye rounds now. We've got 5 rounds to go. A lot of the guys you want to be targeting are those top guys that are playing in round 13. But if they're not going to be playing round 13, like a Haas or something like that, then as I said, they want to be right at the top, and you're not trading them out, and they're not going to be missing too many games over that period. At max, you want them to be missing 2, so that you're not missing out on too many points and scoring really well during that period. So in terms of players that you might be looking to trade out, I am doing this video before team list, guys. So if any of these things are wrong or if they come up differently from team list, then sorry about that. But I had to make these videos a little bit earlier this week as I'm a bit busy. But Turpin is someone that I'd be tempted to trade out this week. I've been speaking about him a little bit. O'Sullivan, if he doesn't get picked up, if we're basing it just off guys in this team, someone like Fui, Langyu, Alvaro. These types of players I'd be looking to hold. Stefano there, holding steady. They do play round 13, and I don't think there's too many crazy cash cows that you could possibly bring in at this stage. Obviously, a lot of people are having guys that are out injured or suspended at the moment, and they're kind of the guys who'd be, unless they're a top gun, I think you can look to trade them out for a cash cow or a top guy at this stage. Be interesting to see what happens with Tedesco. I think for you to move him on, I think you need to have him be out at least 2 weeks, and then he's going to miss a few over Origin. So if you can justify that, then fair enough. But just remember that a lot of guys like myself in my team will be looking to target him probably after the first buy round. If he's playing in round 14 or something like that, then if we can get him at a pretty cheap price, then we'll be trying to bring him in. So if you're trading him out, you'll want to bring him in later because he still is one of the top 3 fullbacks. He will probably end up being the number 1, with Ponga and Pap and these types of guys. So something to think about there. And guys that I in this team right now that I'd still be looking to target are someone like Brayley, who plays round 13. He's an absolute gun. Tohu Harris should be back this week. Obviously, Mom and Pap I'd be holding off bringing in, but Crichton, Fafita, Cleary, someone like Tyron Peachy, Trebojevic you could still look to bring in. He has gained a fair bit of cash now, and he's getting closer to what he normally would average in that sort of mid 40s to 50. And other than that, I'd be leaving anyone from this team currently. So moving along to the other side, we obviously have Payne Harson. I mentioned him as being a good option, but I think just to be fairly close to the lowest price you'll get him. More likely than not, he'll be averaging mid to high 60s from this point on, and having him in your side is really going to propel you up the ranks, especially during this next 5 weeks. So just think about that. You've got 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. So 5 games before he would ever play Origin, and you'd expect that he would only miss 2 games over the bye period. So if you feel like getting his points in is really important, I think that he's a great option. And if you're a head-to-head player, then please get him in as soon as you can, as these prices sort of hitting that bottom there. Reid Mane, especially if you're looking to trade a Turpin, is a really high option this week. If you're sitting there with a Simkin and maybe a Brayley, then you've only got 2 hookers there, and I'm okay with 2. But it'd be cool to have 2 guns and a cash cow, I think, in your hooking position, especially for a position that's really high scoring. So he's a great option this week going forward. Ponga is also a good option. Obviously, he had a lower score on the weekend, but I wouldn't be expecting that on the reg. As I said, these fullbacks, you could get 100 this week and then 40 the next, and they end up averaging somewhere in the 60s, or that's exactly what he's done over the last year or so. Is the up and down the scoring there, but awesome to have there. Papali, it'll be interesting to see if he gets moved back to the bench. If he's back on the bench and not playing 80 minutes, I'd be expecting somewhere in the 50s again as an average, but still, as a middle and edge, playing the 13 role, playing in round 13, I think he's going to do really well for your team going during this period, this next 5 or so weeks, and then all the way up until round 17. And hopefully by that stage, he ends up being a keeper. You've got a dual position guy to go with Crichton, Tohu Harris, stuff like that, which is going to be really helpful for you going forward. So he's a really good option as well. DCE, I think he's a decent option, but I wouldn't have him high on my priority list at this stage. So he's going to score well, of course, but That's that one there. Appy Coruscant could be interesting over the next few weeks. I'd probably be waiting. It looks like he's going to come back this week. I'd probably wait until he drops in price a little bit. He's averaging 33 in just his few games there, so you should be able to get him closer to 700, I'd imagine. Especially if he comes back slowly. It depends what they do with Kenny, if they keep him on the bench or not, and they might be wise to, just with him scoring fairly well. So he could be a cool option, playing in the round 13 bye and having as a possible keeper option again in the 9 role. So someone to keep your eye on there. Cook I'd be holding off on, just with them not playing round 13. Madison, again, you'd like to see his price drop, and you're kind of a bit worried about his concussion protocol issues. Frizz will be playing Origin, so think about that when you bring him in, but he's also a good option. McCulloch doesn't play, will be playing 13, so as another, if you don't have as much cash and would like to go McCulloch, then he's a cool option that's going to average around that 60 mark, which is good. Munster, I'd probably look to hold off on at this point. Each and every week, everyone talks about how he should play Origin, but I think he still has to get past, Tupou and Addo-Carr, and if there's an injury to one of them, then yeah, of course, he probably deserves the spot, but at this stage, I'm not exactly sure. So he's still a good option. Same with Dylan Brown. Lucy Leilua, also a good option. Very much similar to the kind of guys I was talking about last week there. TPJ, is he Origin guy? Is he Queenslander? I'm a bit lost now. I'm not sure. He's a solid option. I probably wouldn't get him myself, but he's up there. Moses at 680k is a great option too. And these are kind of the guys that you could probably look to straight swap with Turpin now, and just base it based off your team and what kind of positions you're really finding really important at the moment. Gutho, who else we had? I had a few guys that have been asked about. Thompson was someone I've been asked about, and he's a solid option. They play around 13, but I think this is kind of his peak. Averaging 54. I wouldn't expect him to average much higher than that. He's obviously a little bit underpriced to 54 average, but I'd be worried that he doesn't keep up with that scoring. Dylan Edwards a great option. Should play around 13. Collins, I think, is good and a very interesting option at 611k. I think he's a little bit underpriced for sure. It's just that he should be playing Origin as well, and yeah, so obviously missing a couple of games. He's not a top tier gun, so those kind of guys, unless they're a top tier gun, I'd be looking to hold off at this stage. Dewey, decent option there in the wing fullback and half. What else we got there? Cody Walker, Foggs. A lot of people thinking about Foggs still, and I think, yeah, he's going to be a solid option. I'm just worried about his inconsistency, and that might annoy people, and they look to just trade him off really quickly. You got Burton. A few people are talking about. I feel like he's going to miss a couple of games, and that might hurt you if you're only sitting with a little bit of cover in your centres, for example, or no cover. There's talks of Milford being back this week with was it Tyson Gamble? That'd be crazy. Rapano is a decent option as well in that dual position. Probably looking at him more in a head-to-head capacity, I'd say at this stage. People are already off Lomax after a couple of low games, but that'd be silly. I'll be looking to target him at some point, especially if I have a centre injury. Raymond's doing well. I don't expect him to keep it up long term. Really high tackle bust numbers. Not for Luma. Again, someone you can possibly target around that round 13. I'd like to see Tigers play a lot better though. Nick Hora is doing okay. People asking about Manu now. Just remember he's had a couple of low games. Roosters haven't been playing as well. And that's what everyone was saying. And now it's like he has one good game and everyone's like, yep, got to pick him up. And yeah, cool. He might do all right, especially if he's playing fullback over the next week or two. But he does play round 13, and he's someone I've said I'm plugging in for the whole year and seeing what happens, because he's gonna average somewhere in the 40s, and I'm happy with that. And if you like that as well, you can do that. But Campbell Graham there, still an option. Brimson getting real cheap, 489 after a decent game on the weekend. And Opacek's there. Said I'm not sure if he's a keeper. If you have Jordan Ricky, it looks like he's probably going to play number 11. So I'd be holding him at this stage if you still have him. Jack Bird's still a decent option. So not much has changed from last week. It's just a little bit more around the guys you'd be looking to hold. And as I said, Alvaro, Fui, Lanu, these types of guys that you have, I'd be looking to hold. And you have those more worse guys that are sitting and stinking up your emergencies there. They're the ones that I'd be looking to move on to a cash cow, for example. And we might talk a little bit about some of the cash cows in the next video as to the ones that you might be looking to target or downgrade some of the mid-range guys that you might have that need moving on, or if you are struggling to field a 17 this week. We've obviously got Mom and Pap, and maybe Teddy is out as well. So we might need some wing fullback cover, and the question will be, who would we move on? And at this stage, it's probably looking like an O'Sullivan, for example, for a Walsh. But yeah, we'll do a little bit of a chat around some of the cash cows in the next video. But I hope you enjoyed that, guys. I hope that helps out a fair bit. Yeah, not too much has changed based on the types of guys that I'd be looking at, but just yeah, there's still a lot of rage trade coming on. Like guys like Stefano, Philly, Alvaro, all had a little bit lower games this week. Obviously Lanu as well, and week to week they're a decent game, and then average game, and it's like just make up your mind if you're looking to move these guys on, or if you're looking to hold them. And I personally think you can hold the majority of them as far as possible, especially when teams at the moment are losing a lot of players. We've lost 4 here and possibly 5. Hopefully Harris comes back and that helps us out. But we've all got a fair few issues in our side at the moment. I feel like trading some of these mid-range cash cow, peaked cash cow kind of guys is just a bit of a luxury in the moment. Unless you really have something that you need to get done, you have a lot of issues in your side, I think you can hold steady. So there you go, guys. That's the thoughts on that video. I hope that really helps. Please like, subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one, guys. Have a good one.